Hey up everyone, and welcome back to Write Good Poetry. As you can see, we've changed locations this week. I am in my office. Welcome. The house is having work done on it at the moment, so you might notice this great big blooming pipe over here. It won't always look like this, but I'm divulging from the point. Thank you so much to everyone who's tuned into the videos so far. It's been really awesome to see people's responses, and I'm really excited to do a new video today. So today we are going to look at a classic poem, and a really famous classic poem at that, and that is Lewis Carroll's Jabberwocky. Now, I love this poem so much. I think it's just such a gorgeous poem, and I'm really excited to share it with you. So a little bit about Lewis Carroll. Well, Lewis Carroll wasn't his real name. His real name was Charles Dodgson, and he was a mathematician, but he is most known by people under his name of Lewis Carroll and for writing Alice's Adventures in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass. So the poem we're going to be looking at today actually features in Through the Looking Glass, and some of you might be very already aware of it. Today I'm going to be reading from this book, which was lent to me by my friend Chris, so thank you very much. This is a really great little book. It's put together by Anna Sampson. I Wandered Lonely as a Cloud, and other poems you half remember from school. So it's got loads of great stuff, all the kind of classic things that you might have studied at school, like one poem from each poet. It's got some William Wordsworth, an extract from Paradise Lost, John Donne, and loads of other brilliant stuff. So would definitely recommend this if you want to kind of have a bit of an introduction to classic poetry. It's definitely worth picking up a copy. So let me get to my Jabberwocky page. And let's do it. 'Twas brillig, and the slithy toads did gyre and gimble in the wabe, all mimsy with the borogoves and the momraths at grabe. Beware the Jabberwocky, my son, the jaws that bite, the claws that catch. Beware the jub bird, and shun the frumious bandersnatch. He took his vorpal sword in hand, long time the maxim foe he sought. So rested he by the tum tree, and stood a while in thought. And in uffish thought he stood, the Jabberwocky with eyes of flame came whiffling through the turgely wood, and burbled as it came. 1, 2, 1, 2, and through the vorpal blade went snicker snack. He left it dead, and with its head he went galumping back. And hast thou slain the Jabberwocky? Come to my arms, my beamish boy. O frabjous day, callooh, callay, he chortled in his joy. 'Twas brillig, and the slithy toads did gyre and gimble in the wabe, all mimsy with the borogoves and the momraths at grabe. So that featured in Through the Looking Glass, which was published in 1871. Is a long time ago, but the actual first verse of that poem was originally published by Carroll back in 1855. So today we're going to have a little look, pick this poem apart, see what it's all about. The first thing to note with this poem is the fact that it uses something called nonsense writing or nonsense verse. Now, Lewis Carroll was kind of one of the pioneers of using nonsense verse, but the form originally originated from like traditional nursery rhymes. However, it was people like him and Edward Lear which popularised the form. So when I say nonsense verse and nonsense writing, what I'm basically saying is like made up words. So for example, if we have a look, so 'twas brillig and the slithy toads. Now, there's no such thing as a slithy toad, okay? I think most of us know this. But why is it effective, and why use it? Well, the thing about nonsense writing and words like this is they communicate a feeling, you know, they give us a feeling about stuff, and the way that they're worded and the way that they're phrased makes us think certain things. So slithy, what does that bring to your mind? Well, it kind of brings to my mind something slimy, something not very nice, something a bit grim. And when I think of Tove, I think of something like a creature like a toad. It sounds like toad. So even though it doesn't actually make any sense when you read it on its own, you get this feeling for what the word could be, and it adds atmosphere to the poem. You know, we don't know what a Jabberwocky is. We have no idea what a Jabberwocky is if we just read this poem on its own. However, we get this idea that it's like this crazy monster, dragon type thing. And the beautiful thing about using nonsense language is that it really evokes people's imagination. So it really gets people thinking about, you know, what things are, and conjures up these really vivid images in our heads. And the beautiful thing about it is that the images are all completely individual to the person and completely individual to the way that we interpret the text. Now, if we're going to look at the text from a more kind of structural type way, it uses a specific rhyme scheme. So the first word I'm going to use that some of you might not have heard before is the word stanza. So when I say stanza, what I mean is basically verse. So in poetry, verses are called stanzas. That's what we refer to them as. So the stanzas are quatrains. Now, a quatrain means they're in fours. So, you know, think of quatrain, quarter. So it's all divided up into, all the stanzas are divided up into groups of 4. So that's, you know, it gives it that kind of nice flow. When we talk about the rhyme scheme of this poem, it uses an A-B rhyme scheme for each stanza. Again, Sophie, what are you chatting about? Right, so let me give you the first verse again. "'Twas brillig, and the slithy toads did gyre and gimble in the wabe, all mimsy with the borogoves and the momraths at grabe." Okay, so the first line is A, toves, and that rhymes with the third line, which is borogoves, hence why those two are both A's. Second line finishes on the word wabe, and the fourth line finishes on the word outgrabe, hence why those two are both B's. So hence why you have this A-B rhyme scheme. Simple. I think the reason why Carroll has chosen to do this is because it gives the poem a lovely flowing sense of rhythm, and it also gives it, you know, a ballad-like form. So the poem, you know, is written like a ballad. It's telling a story of this warrior who goes out and slays this monster and comes back. It's also written like this because bear in mind that Through the Looking Glass and Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, you know, they're for kids. They're written for children. Adults like me absolutely love those books, but and you know, many people love those books. You know, then it's not just for kids, but you know, the prime audience here is kids. So it gives it that lovely rhythm, keep it going along, you know, and makes it accessible for children to read and enjoy. Also, something about Alice's Adventures in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass, which is very different for being written at that time, is that the books don't actually have any moral to them. You know, Alice kind of goes to Wonderland, explores, has loads of weirdness happen to her, but there's no kind of moral to the story. She just goes on her own mad journey, and in a way, like, I mean, I guess there's, you know, there's a moral to this, like, hero dude goes out and slays beast, comes back victor. Awesome, that's telling us a story, but it does it in a fun way and in a way that people have enjoyed throughout many, many years. So I hope you've enjoyed this whirlwind look at Jabberwocky this week. If you've not subscribed to this channel, please subscribe for more poetry goodness. And I'll be back next week with another poem. Also, I'd be really interested if people have any thoughts on this poem, why they like it, kind of what lines stick out to you, and what you think, how you interpret some of these nonsense words. They're really, really fun to play about with. So if you are a writer and are looking for an exercise to do, maybe having a go at trying to do something with nonsense words is something really, really good and will help invoke your imagination. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and yeah, I'll see you next week.